Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going live. We'll go live once or twice a week. It used to be twice. We're getting busy, so now it's only kind of one time. But we try to go live twice a week to answer any questions that you might have in relation to Facebook ads, as well as talk about the latest things that are happening in the world of Facebook. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you like what you're hearing, shoot over some emojis across the screen. If you have any friends that are, very dialed into Facebook ads or trying to learn more, share this live stream with them, and we'll be able to help them along the way as they're going. But we have a couple big updates this week. I'm gonna zoom through these because I got some other stuff to do right after this. But yeah, there's a couple things that happened that were really big. The first of which is the Honest Ads Act. Now what happened is, for those of you who don't know, the situation is basically that during the election, the 2016 election, they eventually came to find out that there was some ads that had been purchased by a group of individuals in Russia with the intent of trying to create dissent or controversy in specific areas in the United States based around the elections and the potential candidates. Now, they've talked a lot about this in the news. The actual amount spent was $100,000, at least what Facebook has disclosed. The guys, when they were talking yesterday, they had a big press conference as they were talking more about the Honest Ads Act, and I'll get to that in a minute. But they were saying that in terms of digital spend for politics or for that campaign, that there was like, I don't know, I forget, man, 160 million? I wrote it down and I didn't bring it with me. It's on a sticky note over at my desk, but I think it was like $160 million. It was a huge amount. And that was, in a comparison to, $100,000. So what happened was the amount that was spent wasn't necessarily a huge amount, but it brought up and started to raise the questions, is there something that needs to be done here in regards to advertising and Facebook, because other people from other countries could be able to come in and potentially meddle with influencing people in terms of who our political candidates are. So what's happened is there's a bill that's going through, and it's starting to pick up, and they're trying to promote it, which is now called the Honest Ads Act. And basically all that they did a press announcement yesterday, and I was able to catch most of it. And all that's really happening is, what happens is, in advertising like TV or radio or print, there is like a standard set of rules that applies to political advertisers, meaning they have to be able to disclose what's there, who's paying for the ad, things like that. And in the world of Facebook and necessarily Google, there isn't, meaning anyone, if I wanted to, I could go start running political ads for a certain client. I could be able to create any fan page that I wanted to with whatever name it is and start advertising that this is a message from them. So, it's a much more of a wild, wild west in terms of Facebook. I think anyone that, advertises on the platform will know that that's true. And so what happens is they're now saying, hey, what needs to happen is the online channels, Facebook and Google, need to be held to the same level of accountability as the other advertising kind of platforms, which would be radio, TV, and print. And what happens is, as they were going through the list of things that were there, it was actually a good thing. Everything that I heard seemed like it made sense, seemed like it was logical, and it wasn't necessarily trying to attack Facebook. They were just saying, hey, these need to be clear, and this is now a tool that can be used for harm if there isn't some sort of checks and balances onto it. So what does it mean for you guys as an advertiser? The biggest thing that Facebook talked about during this issue was that they were going to be much more transparent in regards to political ads. They said that they were hiring more people to manually review ads, so it's less algorithm and more manual, especially in terms of political ads. The second thing that was really big was the fact that they're now going to start to allow you to see any ad or all ads for any political advertiser. What that means is if a certain candidate is running ads, you can click and there will be an option that says show me all the ads from this advertiser. So this is now interesting because this means you'd be able to go back and essentially view every ad that a specific fan page in regards to political ads has put up. Now, they didn't mention will this happen for all advertisers. It may not. Facebook hasn't disclosed that. But for right now, they're going to be doing that for political ads. So anyway, a big deal because now Facebook's being much more transparent. You know, in the past, you haven't been able to see the ads that people have been doing unless you were necessarily targeted by them. So this is now the option that you have to be able to go back, look at it. And so if you see something that seems like, man, this seems like a weird ad or it doesn't seem right, you can be able to go back and look. And if you were to find that, hey, this is indeed someone just trying to cause problems and posting really just, you know, off the wall ads, you could be able to report it. It would be escalated to Facebook and they'd be able to prevent this problem in the future. So anyway, that's what the Honest Ads Act is and what it does and what it really means for you. It's not going to necessarily cost you more. For political advertisers, there's going to be more transparency, and it seems just, you know, good across the board. So anyway, that's my updates on that. Let's see, a couple other quick ones that we can run through. For custom audiences, Facebook has begun to start to roll out 2 new types of custom audiences. This is dwell time, which is how much time people are spending on your site. So if you want to be able to target people who are spending more time on your site as opposed to all visitors of your site, you can be able to create custom audiences of those people. This is a fantastic tool because it gets you really kind of the people who are spending, you know, the most time on site. They're curious about what you're doing. They're learning about specific topics. All of those things are usually indicators that those people are much more likely to become a customer. So the fact that Facebook has now created, you know, a custom audience tool around that, very fantastic. And then link sharing, people who are share an actual link. So if you post something or an article and there's people that are posting or clicking the share button, those are people that want to spread a message. This is, again, a great option to be able, if you're trying to get another potential link to be shared, you can be able to target people who've done it in the past, which means they'll be highly likely to probably do it again in the future. So 2 new audiences that can help you be able to improve your Facebook ads. Let's see, Facebook Live announced a screen sharing update where you can now go live from your desktop computer, which is fantastic, and you can actually do screen sharing from there, meaning you can share what's on your screen as you're talking. I'm going to have to do it one of these times, and then we can do walkthroughs on any questions you guys have. For now, we just do it through a mobile device because it's easiest, and that's what gets us going. Let's see what else. Dynamic Creative. So Facebook announced Dynamic Creative, which is an awesome tool. Basically what this is, you can upload multiple images, multiple videos, multiple headlines, and Facebook, all within one ad, will create all the variations of that and start to run them to be able to find out which one is actually performing best. So you don't need to create ads one by one by one by one by one again. Now you can be able to go in, jump into that, and be able to create a whole bunch automatically. And what happens is they started to improve their reporting feature for this. So this is also still very new. It's only been out in the last kind of month to 2 months. And so they launched a new reporting kind of area for this to start to give you more information on how your dynamic creatives are doing. Another one that's, you know, whatever is Facebook. Oh, no, this is actually really cool. Facebook just acquired, and I don't know if any of you guys have used this, a mobile app called TBH. And I hadn't heard of it. I went and downloaded it and tried to use it for a little bit. This is really big with elementary and high school type kids. And basically it's a bunch of quizzes. It uses your contacts. So it has all the people that you know. And then it will create a quiz like who's most likely to become president of the United States, or who's the best looking person you know, or who would you, the one person you would want to go to a theme park with. And you have to select from the people. It'll give you 4 of your contacts, and you have to start selecting them, and they start to rank for these little quizzes or fun things. But what's interesting is Facebook bought it. It's had huge user growth, and there's a huge kind of ramp up of this in terms of users that find it very fun. And Facebook is, you know, very much trying to go after the younger demos. So they went out and acquired this app to bring it in. What does it mean for you guys? At some level, they may be able to throw some ads in the mix of that. For now, I imagine they're just going to try to build it out and create something that's very valuable for the younger demos. And then at some point, they'll look at doing ads for that. So anyway, that's something that you guys have and you can look forward to. And then finally, to wrap it up today, I got a question, and this is a good one. It came from Liz, and I printed it out to make sure I could get this 100% right, because as you can tell, there's an entire email for her question. But here, I'll break it down into a kind of a simplistic terms. She was running a campaign, and she set the ad set. She had an ad set for $15, and she built her ad sets by day, meaning she was like, I want this one to run for 1 day, and I'm giving it a $15 a day budget for the lifetime value. And then she did another one for $40, and she built out 5 different ad sets for $40. So one would run Monday for $40, Tuesday for $40, Wednesday for Thursday, $40, like all the way down, and then it would go back to $15. And now while she was running this and kind of running through this process, she said that she noticed that on the second day, so like Tuesday for $40, she noticed that her ad set had absolutely no activity, which means it spent nothing at all. So that was her first problem. And then her second question was, or that she noticed was, when she had increased the budget from $15 to $40, she noticed that her activity, meaning her eyeballs, number of people that were reached, number of clicks, stayed about the same, but her cost per click increased. And she was like, Brian, can you explain why this would happen, and what is kind of going on behind the scenes? Meaning, should I not ever increase my budget? What are my options? Things like that. So let me go through here. There's 2 questions. I'll answer them. The first one, which was no activity. So she was creating new ad sets specifically for the day, and they got no spend for the day. We've seen this happen multiple times. We can create something with an ad set, get it up, to where it's ready to go. And what happens is, the way I refer to it is like it's a big giant river, and you have to get your ad into that river. And the number one way to do that is by spending money. The more money you're willing to give to Facebook, the more likely they're going to pull your ad in and get it into where it's showing more. From time to time, we've seen it to where it just seems like a technical glitch, meaning the system didn't somehow pick something up, and an account will stay, or an ad set will stay at 0, even though all the indicators are good to go. There's nothing that looks wrong. The ads are in there. The budgets are set right. Targeting set right. So to some extent, it looks like it can be from time to time a technical glitch. On the other end, there's a lot that goes into actual bidding. Part of it is the actual budget and how many other people are trying to bid that day. And so what happens is there's a lot of moving variables. And what Facebook looks at is how much money can we make and how many people can we actually reach on that day. And so there is a chance that, say you're only reaching a small audience, if Facebook has a lot of other advertisers on that day, specifically for that one audience, you may not necessarily get in there if you kept your bid low. Now, it may have been fine the other day, but maybe on that one day, there was another event going on or something in the area. There's a lot more people that are starting up ads. That has the likelihood, if those people are bidding higher than you, that it would have kicked yours down to where it was just like, hey, there's nothing that's running. Again, the fact that nothing ran, for me, looks like it's something that's generally just a glitch with the system. And usually what we do in that case to prevent it, if we see something that isn't spending money within the first 4 hours, we can refresh the ad set. And what that means is you just take it, duplicate it, and then pause the original one. And that gets another one back into the system that's registering, and a lot of times that second one will take off. So those are my tips for the first question. And the next thing I would say is, her question was, I noticed that Facebook was taking more of my money, but the cost per click, was higher, but the actual results were the same. And so in this case, right, Facebook is very good at taking money. And this is, again, when it comes down to Facebook advertising, this is your job, is to watch the numbers and see what's actually happening with this big, massive system with lots of moving parts. So in this case, there's a couple things that I would suggest. One, you need to be watching the numbers. Number two, I've seen times that it's done exactly what it happened with you, and I've seen times where it's done the exact opposite, where all of a sudden the cost per click is much, much lower. You're working within daily budgets of $15 to $40, which in Facebook's world is very, very small. They're looking for people that are wanting to spend a lot more money. So just know you're coming into a big platform with 1 million plus, in fact 5 million plus advertisers with a couple of dollars. So you may not necessarily see the biggest changes. And what Facebook's doing is they have a thing that's called the exploration period or the exploration period. And what this is when your account first starts, Facebook is going to go out and start to find more people that are like the people that you want to be able to complete your objective. So if you're saying I want people to buy and I'm targeting everyone in my city, what happens is Facebook is going to look and they're like, which people in this city have bought in the last day or 2 days or 5 days or 7 days? And they're going to start to go out and show for this. And as they show them, their algorithm is looking who's clicking and who's buying. Now what happens is they're adjusting who they're going to show it to as they get more data as it goes. So in order to get data quickly, what they do is they oftentimes will accelerate the CPMs, they'll accelerate the amount of people that it's going because they're trying to get more data sooner so they know, hey, don't go down this way, go over here. And that's what they're really trying to do. Now, the upside there is it sounds good. Facebook's like, hey, we're going to spend more money at the beginning to try to get us on track with who we want. The downside there is they're spending your money more expensively. And when you look at it from your perspective, you're like, this makes no sense. You charged me more, I gave you more money, and I still got the same amount of clicks, and nothing really changed. I would imagine if you look back and compare day by day, you probably noticed higher CPMs on the days where you increased your budget. And that's because Facebook is automatically doing that to try to ensure that you get higher up in the bid, you get more exposure, but that does not necessarily mean you're gonna get more clicks or conversions out of it. Kind of in that scenario, you're running single day ads with a small budget, meaning your ad sets are only running for 24 hours. That's gonna take a lot of work. So, the number that Facebook wants, and it used to be 15, then it went to 25. Now what they're saying is 50. 50 conversion events per ad set per week. That's the number that you should be looking to get for your campaign. So, if it's $1 per lead, you need to be getting 50 of those per week. So your budget should be at least $50. Now, if your cost per lead is $10, you need to be getting 50, which means you need to be spending $500 per ad set per week to be able to have it optimized in the way that Facebook is built for. So what happens is, they're raising their budgets, and the tools that we see, generally work well, and they generally work as they say they have. They've got a lot of data scientists, and what they're trying to do is to build a platform that gets good results and gets the right ad in front of the right people. But I know that when you're starting out, it can be extremely frustrating because you're like, hey, I just went from $15 to $40, same number of clicks, but they took all my money. That's kind of an overview of why that's happening, how it's happening, and so I guess my advice for you would be either increase your budget, would be number one. Number two, I would look at maybe running a longer ad set campaign, meaning not 7 days for each, but one that might run for a longer period because you're not resetting that number every single day, and Facebook's having to go or needing to go into that exploration period because basically you're resetting it every morning when you have a new ad set. It's like, hey, here's a new audience, let's go. So it's going to spend rapidly as it tries to go find them, whereas if you were to keep that over 7 days, it would have already happened and it would even out over time. So hopefully that answers your question. Great question, by the way. And thank you for writing that in, Liz. And for everyone else, thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, if you have questions, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you again next week. Cool. Talk to you guys later.